6 steps to having a life-changing conversation. Step 1, stop trying to have a life-changing conversation. Step 2, try and earn the opportunity to have a life-changing conversation. Step 3, have lots of conversations. Step 4, cultivate appropriate levels of care and understanding. Step 5, understand you can't change everyone's life in a moment. Create environments of support and possibility as well as conversations. Step 6, recognize that both you and the person you're having a conversation with are unlikely to identify the conversation you're having at any given moment as being life-changing, even if it was in fact a life-changing conversation. And you might not find out for many, many years that conversation you had changed someone's life. Even though you won't know, or you might not know, have good conversations anyway. These 6 steps, they might sound pretty simple, and it's because they kind of are. There is a tendency, particularly in the non-profit space and the mental health space, to over-exaggerate what's possible from small interventions. And people say, oh, never underestimate the power of a kind word and those sorts of things. And yet, absolutely, sometimes you can have a profound impact on someone's life from a tiny little moment. And I'm not going to deny that, and I wouldn't deny that. And we've all heard some stories where people have sort of said that's the case. But unfortunately, having such a simplistic way of looking at something so big like a life-changing conversation, it takes away from the things that earn you the opportunity to have a life-changing conversation. And primarily they're based on trust. And you can earn that trust by showing up and caring for a long time with someone and developing a deep relationship. You can show up by having good conversations. In person is obviously preferable, I think. Like taking the time to see people and have conversations in person is preferable to only communicating through text messages and things like that, if it's possible. It's not always possible. Some conversations are better than none, but in-person conversations are pretty much always better. But try and earn the opportunity by just showing up regularly and by caring deeply and understanding deeply where people are coming from and what they're going through. It's pretty hard to dip into someone's life and have a life-changing conversation. Instead of looking for a template for having a life-changing conversation, just cultivate better conversations. Be real about stuff. Talk about things that are real. Talk about sex and bodily functions and relationships and how you're feeling and these sorts of things. You don't have to do it with everybody, but certainly with the people who you want to have deep, meaningful connections with. It's useful to be able to talk about these things. It's helpful. It's human to be able to talk about these things. And at some point, through regular interactions with your friends, your close friends, and the people that you have these conversations with, the opportunity for a life-changing conversation may avail itself to you. And you might not even know that it's happened. You just had a conversation and you happen to drop some wisdom or supportive comment or catch someone in a moment and change the trajectory for them from going down to going back up. And I think we overemphasize too much a template, and we overemphasize life-changing conversations over the importance of just the majority of conversations that we have. Community and connection is incredibly important. Community and connection provide avenues to these life-changing conversations that no 6-step process can. So cultivate those relationships, cultivate that communication, that open communication with people. Doesn't have to be with everyone, but hopefully everyone has a couple of people that they can be open and honest with and vulnerable with and talk about these things with. And if you keep showing up and you keep showing the appropriate levels of care and understanding and you build that trust, then one day you might have the chance to have a conversation that's life-changing for someone. But if you run around trying to have life-changing conversations, you're probably annoying. And if you're trying to do it on a template without the appropriate levels of care and cultivation around them, then you're just probably someone who's just spinning too much advice at people who you maybe haven't earned the trust of fully yet. And so it won't have the requisite effect that you're looking for. So yeah, if you want to have a life-changing conversation, stop trying to have a life-changing conversation. Just have good conversations. Be a good friend. Look after the people to the left and right of you. Don't worry so much about these big global ambitions as a starting point. Worry about how well you show up and look after those people that you already know. How good are those conversations? How often are you showing up for them? How real is everyone able to be with each other? And is that okay? and give people time and space to be themselves, to have good days and bad days, chat them through it, catch up, have coffees, have beers, do whatever, look after each other, just be nice. And then one day you might get a phone call from someone saying, hey, 10 years ago, that conversation we had made all the difference, and I didn't realise it at the time, and obviously you didn't, but I can look back now and see that it was a dip, and this was a turning point where I started to climb out of that dip. So thank you very much for that. That life-changing conversation was just in passing as part of the general care and understanding that you were showing someone who you cared about. And I think that's the kind of stuff we need to promote above and beyond generic steps for changing people's lives forever in tiny little interventions, because they rarely work. They don't never work, but they rarely work. The real money-making interventions are in deep connection, care, understanding, and relationships that you build over time. And so let's do that. Let's do more of that. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for watching. Thanks for getting to the end. I put the 6 steps at the beginning, so if you only watched that far, you won't see this, but that's okay. Look after yourselves, look after each other, just be nice, and I'll see you for a good conversation on the balcony, at a cafe, in person, hopefully, soon.